Kaitor and Hartmint arrive at the slums, but don't know which shack to go into. Hartmint says he is scheduled to be at the south gate overnight.
For the early morning shift, if you sleep early and sneak through the city, I can let you through that gate shortly before sunrise. I could be your guy on the inside if you ever need.
Hartmint's head vaporizes as a heated metal canister punches through it and the wall behind him. The projectile is similar to the one found under the Earl's bed, and Kaitor sees why there wasn't any blood spatter. He drops to the ground in a roll and gets behind the thin walls of a slum shack. They won't protect him, but they will block line of sight. A second shot smashes through the wall, continues on and smashes through the other side of the shack, embedding itself in the ground outside.
Hello, there are two constants here. Where is the other one?
Asks Nickodeemis in his unique accent that might sound Russian to Alec. Silence is the only response from the ranger, who is quietly digging a rabbit hole underneath the back wall of the shack. The walls are thin enough to punch through, but it would move the entire structure and would be loud. The flimsy walls also rest atop the ground, instead of being dug multiple feet in as a foundation, so he can claw away the dirt as easily as a rabbit would under a garden gate.
I told you it didn't matter if you succeeded or not down there. You are going to die here.
Nickodeemis says, hoping for a response so he can aim his weapon. Silence still, but Nix is sneaking around the shacks, trying to get line of sight on what made the loud noises. Kaitor gets out and crouches through another two huts, using his internal compass to avoid line of sight with the elevated position the projectile came from that killed Hartmint. 3 more shots ring out, blasting through multiple shacks each, one hitting the room Alec is in. Another hits less than a foot away from Nix's head, their hair blowing from the close movement. The pilgrim druid tries to cast invisibility, but instead poisons everyone within a 100-foot radius, including Nickodeemis. He coughs and spits.
Damn you and your magic.
The air wobbles. Thrumming noise builds and crescendos, then subsides. A second after the crescendo, an explosion rocks the pilgrims to their knees. A 50-foot radius sphere centered on Nickodeemis vanishes, leaving a huge crater and a gaping opening in the exterior wall of the city. Clunk, clack. Elsa sees the object fall and land in the center of the crater and sprints to retrieve it, her feet and hands charring from the hot stone sides of the crater. The pilgrim monk juggles the object in her hands to avoid burning herself and rushes back to Alec.
That concussive blast was absolutely a teleporter malfunction. I'm surprised it didn't explode before he got out. But since it didn't explode until after the noise started winding down, that means he made it out safely. He'll likely have to make some repairs, though. What's that? Put it down, girl. No point in holding heated metal aloft. Yes, I recognize this. The Mark I plasma rifle. Those things are so old, the agency banned their use because they have a tendency to overheat and explode. That fits with the bullet canister that Jack showed me earlier.
Explains Alec, although most of the jargon sounds like a foreign language to the pilgrims.
You have some connection to Nickodeemis, and his tools and weapons are all old and likely to break or explode?
I haven't seen all his tools and weapons, but if the teleporter and plasma rifle are any indication of a trend, then likely, yes, he's working with rusty old tech.
The pilgrims take Alec and his things outside the wall and set up camp away from the city. In the morning, Cornelius awakes in the college, well rested, and heads downstairs. Cornelius finds one of the magical registry books that references Alec Azzam. His DNA number is 00000.
No magic?
Cornelius quietly asks himself, perplexed that one regarded as the most powerful wizard on the continent would not register in the magical fingerprint identifier. After his early morning research, he heads to the cafeteria to have breakfast with the other researchers and students, walking in on an announcement.
There's been a terrorist attack, and we need you, archaeologists, to go to the site and help check for evidence. A bunch of slum housing and a small bar were lost, along with a section of the northern wall.
Instructs a senior professor. Cornelius, other interns and students walk over. When they get to the site of the crater, one of the students says,
Aw, dude. Bummer, man. That was the bar with the 1 silver beers. Now we're gonna have to go to a campus bar and pay 5 silver. What a rip.
Meanwhile, at the infirmary, Jack wakes up and tries to walk. His head is wrapped in bandages and a busty nurse bounces over to him.
Honey, sit down. You were hit in the head last night. You should rest.
What happened?
Alec the assassin and some drunken she-devil broke out of prison, and you were found unconscious near the cell.
Drunken she-devil?
Yes. Oh, the poor vizier. She punched him right in the schwanz. He'll never be able to have children now. He's still sleeping in another room here. This place is probably going to fill up pretty soon. They are still looking for casualties from last night's explosion.
Explosion? Was a bar involved? Wait, that doesn't matter. Where was it? I have to get there and investigate.
Oh, you're so brave.
She says, tears welling up in her eyes.
So self-sacrificing, going off to investigate the dangerous places and find dangerous criminals. You bring pride to us all.
I'm not brave, I'm just... Well, I need to. I need to investigate. I need to know the truth. I can't leave a mystery unsolved, and this whole case with Alec is still completely a mystery.
If you must go, the explosion was in the slums, near the northern wall of the city.
She folds her arms in front of her, grabbing one elbow below her ample bosom, holding the other forearm aloft to point in a vaguely northern direction.
I can't stop you. Your injuries aren't serious enough to make a strong adventurer like you bedridden, but I hope you take it easy and protect your sweet little head.
She leans in, unwraps his bandages, and kisses him on the forehead, engulfing his face in her breasts for a moment before leaning back. Jack goes over to Alec's lab at the college and takes everything he can carry, squeaky vines of various colors. Everything they are attached to, including another of those books with crystal buttons and something that seems to be powering it. Research papers, vials, everything he can pick up. Before rushing out the door, he scrawls a note.
Confiscated materials to assist in the investigation of the assassination of Earl Reinhold and the new investigation to find the escaped accused. Alec Azzam signed, Jack Spriggard, P.I.
On his way to the crater, Jack passes a bounty poster, reading, Alec Azzam, wanted for treason, political assassination, destruction of property, resisting arrest, terrorism, and 80 counts of murder. Suspect is highly dangerous. Reward offered for information or capture, dead or alive. At the edge of the crater, Jack and Cornelius meet up and try to read the note Cator left in Jack's pocket, but they don't know the language. A half-giant archaeology student leans over them and reads aloud.
Meet at camp outside, KK?
As the archaeologists pick their way through the rubble, Jack and Cornelius sneak away and leave the city through the hole in the wall. They meet the rest of the group in a forested clearing and exchange information before tucking in for the night. In the morning, the watch hears footsteps approaching. Cator, Jack, and Nix guardedly peer into the woods, bracing themselves. The two taller pilgrims are taken aback when they see Selenfi wander out of the shrubbery, followed by Perrin. Nix freaks out and tries to attack Perrin, while the other two stand there, dumbfounded.
Selenfi, you're alive? And you exist in this timeline?
Cator drops his bow, plunks down cross-legged, and begins speaking to himself.
If he's alive, then what does that mean for Bjorn? This could be bad. If the warrior of life isn't dead, we can't fulfill the prophecy. But it could be good. Maybe Selenfi is alive and Bjorn is dead. Have they ever existed in the same timeline before? Perrin is here. What does that mean?
He looks around, sees Nix clinging to Perrin's leg and trying to climb up. He sees their camp, but no sign of Elsa or Palanfear. Did they make it out of the city? He's broken out of his contemplation by Perrin asking about chaos crystals, Jack says.
Yeah, there's one the size of the city buried here. It messes with the magic of the area.
Alec begins ranting in technical jargon, most of it incomprehensible, but the pilgrims are able to understand a few messages.
Different colors of chaos crystals have different effects. Blue affects magic, green affects flesh. Short-term exposure to the green is usually fine, but long-term or high dosage of radiation can render you infertile, or with horrible cancer.
What's cancer?
It's a disease caused by radiation and mutation.
What's radiation?
The green glow from the chaos crystals.
What's mutagynkion?
Mutation. Oh, never mind. It's bad, okay?
More footsteps, metal-clad this time.
We need to leave now.
Jack turns around and almost smacks into Dobby, whom no one had seen approach. The short cook squeals.
Oh, Master Jack, it has been so long.
Covering their ears, the pilgrims look behind him to see a dire goat towering above. Its head looming down to eat some grass, harnessed to a large carriage, Cator immediately tries feeding his old goat, Bob, and cutting the hair so it won't overhang his eyes. Jack immediately rushes to the back of the cart and inspects the hidden compartments they had installed nearly a year previous. Perrin follows and sees the massive supply of disc-shaped rocks.
Aha! The landmines. I was wondering what happened to those.
No time to reminisce. Get in. We can talk on the road.
Over the next few hours, Kator recounts the changing prophecy and the timelines and the interdimensional travel that Zephron had told them about, and asks where Seelenfee and Perrin have been.
Go where I am needed, do I?
Says Seelenfee. Perrin offered a much more informative story about how the book they had found with the warlock spells in it had sucked him into another dimension, where he met strange beings and they taught him their ways. He hands the bag of holding to Jack and says,
I still had this when the book took me away. I hope you guys got along all right with just the other one.
Jack smiles nervously.
Funny you should mention that. We actually don't have it anymore. There were some supernaturally stealthy forest animals, rabbits or maybe squirrels.
Raccoons, actually.
Kator interrupts.
Yes. Raccoons? Well, they somehow managed to take all our shiny gold and platinum in Cater's bag of holding.
And maps.
Kator injects.
Yes, the maps too. Everything that was in his bag. We found one small coin in a knot of a tree trunk, but saw no trace of the rest, except for the animal tracks.
Has there been any news of my parents?
Asks Perrin.
Not since the invasion of Dulathanorian, but we died after that, so I'm not sure if the invasion happened in this timeline. I think it did, but we haven't heard anything.
I guess no news is good news.
Seelenfee brings the carriage to a halt. Bandits surround them.
Give us all your money and weapons and be on your way.
No, don't ask for that. You're supposed to just ask for a 100 gold toll.
They have weapons? Should we just let them go then? Do you think we can take them in a fight?
The bandits bicker among themselves until Nyx demands to speak with their leader and convinces them it is opposite day.
Opposite day? Oh no. Oh yes.
So, that means that you are robbing us by giving us all of your money and your clothes.
Nyx runs around and pulls the pants down on several of the bandits.
Oh man, do we have to?
You heard the gnome? It's opposite day. That means Fred is in charge and Bill has to dig the latrines. And we have to give all our stuff to these random travelers.
They all waddle together and lay down what few copper coins they have in a pile. Nyx grabs it, spanks one of them on the bare butt, and runs back onto the carriage. Then he puts a finger in the air, bursts out the window and shouts,
Stay here and know where you are.
Shit!
Shouts one of the bandits.
That means we have to get lost.
I know this area pretty well. I'll have to go a long way to get lost.
It's just until tomorrow, right?
I don't know how this works. I've never had an opposite day before.
The carriage continues on, the pilgrims wondering if they were too harsh on the impoverished bandits. At night, Kator spends hours grooming Bob and notices Dobby shivering in the cold on the hard earth below the carriage. Lacking any sort of blanket, Kator begins stuffing the goat fur under the carriage as if it were feathers in a pillow. Dobby continues to refuse any sort of equal treatment, ripping apart any pillows or bedrolls he is given. But the pilgrims appreciate his help, and Kator doesn't want him to be cold. That afternoon, a stampede of cows nearly crashes into the carriage. Kator barely keeps control of Bob and avoids most of the herd. But they see metallic bulls venting fire from their nostrils, chasing after the cows. A bull catches a cow, gores it with a horn, and flips the cow in the air. It turns to stone mid-flight and shatters as it hits the ground. Battle ensues, and the bulls get distracted by the pilgrims, allowing the cows to escape. They seem to have bitten off more than they can chew, however, when the bulls leap over the invisible walls that had been set as a trap. Even after being magically blinded, and with hole blasted straight through the metal to the other side, the bulls kept attacking. The rear of the carriage was torn away, leaving cracked, splintered wood and hundreds of small disc rocks on the ground. A foul breath flows over the carriage. Nyx and Kator begin to feel their feet and legs turning to stone. Kator says,
Make it face this way, and steady the wagon. I'm going to try to hit it in the nose.
Nyx puts a hand on the archer's side, resting his nerves. He breathes out slowly, draws back, and looses 2 arrows in rapid succession, almost instinctually. The first smashes into the bull's jaw, breaking the arrow and leaving a small scratch on the metal. The second lodges itself inside the nostril, and the back end of the shaft splinters away. The bull rears wildly, turning and attacking thin air. It charges in one direction, lashes out with its horns, then charges in another direction. The other bull, with huge chunks of metal melted away by magical fire and lightning, tries to impale Silenfi, but he lithely steps aside and knocks its head down. The horns catch on the dirt, one snaps off, but the other holds, and the beast neck makes a screeching crack sound as its body continues forward with its head in the ground. The metal lurches and snaps, the headless bull collapses into the dirt. The pilgrims afflicted by the petrification begin to feel their legs again moments before the beast dies. The universe will never know how close it was to falling to ruin, all because the prophetic heroes wanted to save the lives of a few innocent cows.